Hi everyone. A couple questions have come up that I thought worthy of sharing with you, and then some very important dates to talk about as we get towards the end of the class. So I'm going to start with a little calendar talk. So let's do this. I'll make an official announcement today, and I'll be reminding you every week that the day to turn in makeup work is the 17th. I do not want to deal with makeup work. You can turn in any assignment, anything that we've been doing, up until the 17th. I want you walking into the final on the 21st with knowing exactly where you stand in the grade. So there's two things that are, speaking of the final, there's going to be two things. There's the project that I'm going to be assigning on the 14th. That'll be due. And then there'll be something for the final. I haven't decided yet. Personally, I am a fan of what I call a speedrun project, where I give you some parameters over the stuff we've done and you try to do it within an hour. It has been suggested to do some sort of multiple choice or written test. So we shall see, but there will be a final on the 21st at 6:30. But the projects and everything we've been doing are definitely holding more points. So do make sure you get the makeup work done. That will influence your grade better than the final, okay? If you have noticed, it might be feeling like we're getting a little bit, easier is not the right word, but a little bit less robust in the assignments where they're being very specific and trying to fill in some holes. And that's kind of intentional. When I took this class and when I reviewed this class to teach at my other school, it was kind of heavy set in the beginning, and then it's meant to kind of, that stuff spills into some easier work. These are definitely we're getting more specific and more kind of straight ahead rather than these overarching projects. And when you think about it, there's no real way to do it because everything I want to teach you had to revolve around that giant sculpted self-portrait or that giant sculpted monster head. So they're getting very, these are what I call one-offs, right? They're once a week doing it. So we're not going to deal with rendering anymore. If you want to render out final stuff, like I say, take a screenshot for the next assignment. But if you wanted to do some render outs, you could do some render outs, maybe for some extra credit. So, so there is that. So once again, Sarah, I think you came in right after I said it, but just to say it again, it's worth saying. All makeup work is the 17th. So get going. You have, let's count, 1, 2, 3 weeks to get cracking on that makeup work. Let's see. All right. If you haven't finished rendering a scene, just to kind of review, apologies for my IPR busting and me not being able to fix it quickly. I still don't know what exactly happened. What you're trying to do is balance out some lights here. The angle should reflect the time of day. So if it's morning, make sure you're engaging the shadows. I'm reviewing very, very, very quickly. Make sure you're engaging the shadows by turning on depth and shadows. Make sure you're using more than one light to kind of fill in the gaps. And why you want to fill in more lights is this is kind of dark or shaded right here. So I use a spotlight, some sort of low intensity spotlight, just to kind of highlight this feature and make them stand out a little bit more from the background, especially if they have different colors. Definitely play with light colors, right? Morning, evening, creative, right? And definitely have some fun with it. I've seen some interesting camera angles get turned in. That's great. I've seen some Arnold's get submitted. I've seen some Maya software get submitted. The idea is for you to choose your best workflow. One thing I failed to do was I should have given you something more organic. I should have had them flying through some sort of organic thing where it was softer and rounder, because that's kind of where Arnold will shine. So someone was asking why Arnold, Maya looks just as good and the light's easier to manage because of the darkness issue. Arnold is really good at the more organic shapes, the softer shapes, if you notice that with your head when you're rendering out with that there. So if you're in a bind and haven't done your work, get a directional light up, start casting it the right way and change your color, then start filling in things, and then just IPR out. You don't have to do all the settings I was covering. It's a little dark. Am I in Arnold? I am in Arnold. Let's go to my software. Oops, hit IPR. Can I hit IPR? Yeah, right? There needs to be a little bit more here than just that. Some of you were digging Arnold. Some of you were digging Maya. It's one of the ones I've seen turned in. Once you hit IPR, you can save it right here. So you don't have to hit render out and let it batch render or anything like that. What I wanted to do, you can go here and save image, and you can save that image out, or you can actually, there's another spot where you can actually export out the image. So anyway, one thing I didn't cover was I was going to show off and actually render the sequence and then merge them together, but because of my little mistake, we ran out of time. So there's just, I'm going to chalk that up to a bad day. Better day today. Any questions on what I have said about rendering or the deadlines or the final? I don't know what I can answer on the final yet. I'm a big fan of speedruns, so I'm leaning towards making you do something in class on Maya with some limited parameters in a basic way and having you turn in a play blast of some sort. That is what I am thinking. However, I might change my mind. That's where I'm leaning. Blends. Okay.
What kind of speed run? Like making a model or setting up?
It's usually involving a model in the ways we've tried, and maybe I'll have either some lights, or maybe I'll have what we're about to do right now, or maybe I'll have the thing we're about to learn, which is called set-driven keys.
So it won't involve like bump maps or spec maps, because a lot of those stuff is...
Probably would not. If it was, it would be very simple. Very simple. Like, I'm talking simple. So I'll give you an example. For my 420 type class that I've taught at other schools, not here, what I do is I say, make a projectile hit a holiday tree and have the holiday tree react to the projectile hitting it. So you can make a ball bounce, hit the tree, and fall over. And you can do that in 2 hours. That's it. Like a very basic ball, very basic shape, a cone with a cylinder stuck in it, knock it over. So it's stuff like that. It will be very fair, trust me. And I will make sure I do it. And usually what I do is, if I can do it in 1/4 the time, then I think you can do it in that. And like, so if I can do it in 20 minutes, I think you could do it in 1 hour and 20 minutes. That's how I kind of base that off of. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Or it might be written. Who knows? I'll give you a more definitive answer very soon. Meditations of a teacher. All right. Good question. Any other questions? Okay. The renders that have been turned in do look good. Good job. Whoever modeled that is awesome. You should work for LucasArts.
You want to work for LucasArts?
Sure. Why not? I've been there. It's great. I'm on recording. Yes, please. Let's see. All right. What I want you guys to do is open up your head. Either you're going to open up your monster head, or you're going to open up your self-portrait. Whichever one you want to play with.
With or without the lights?
We'll delete we're going to save as and delete the lights. So we will do a save as and get it started. Okay. I'll talk about the assignment in a section, and I'll actually show you where we're headed in the next 2 weeks. And then I want to talk a lot of you have very dense meshes, so you have to operate and handle how to select things a little differently than you probably did in Mart 420. Then you're going to have time to start sculpting the expressions. And that's going to be pretty much the rest of the class. When we get back from a break, I'll try to give you some more tips about making those expressions. But that's about it. That today is kind of like a review plus one. of how to do blend shapes. So it's blend shapes you did last year or whatever time you took animation 420, and then we're just one-upping that. That's all we're doing today. So it's a better review. And all of you got some sort of face now. This is partially why I didn't do this until now and why I put a few lessons between the head models do and this, is so that there's some time for makeup work. Right? Right. All right. So whichever one works is fine. All right. So by next Tuesday, by the beginning of class next Tuesday, you're turning in 3 screenshots. On a PC, I believe it is Shift Windows key plus S. Someone want to test that? I know print screen will kind of copy it, and then you have to paste it somewhere. But I believe Shift Windows key and then S gives you a screenshot. Is that true, my PC brethren?
I just have a print screen button.
You have a print screen button, and it actually takes a picture, a snippet. You also have a snippet tool. For Mac users, it's Command Shift 4.
Yeah, it is.
And you drag it over like that.
It's yeah, for the PC, it's the Windows key at that, and then you could choose what you.
Windows, S, and Shift gives you the selector. Yeah, it's been a while since I've been on a PC.
So 14 pictures?
No, 3 pictures. 3 pictures.
30 pictures, understood.
3 screenshots. 1 of all 12 heads. That's going to be your original head plus 11 expressions. I know Ben's going to say, what expressions? Well, you're going to have 4 for the mouth. You do not have to do these 4. These are suggested.
No, I'm just wondering how you fit that all in the one screenshot.
It's really big. I'll show you. And then I can show you. And then 2 screenshots that are close up, just one head, of your favorite expressions. So if you are really proud of your frown, take a screenshot of that frown. If you are really proud of your drooped eyes, you can do that. If you want to do more expressions, go for it. Maybe for extra credit. If you don't like these options, if you're like, a drooped eyes isn't really my character. My character doesn't ever get sad. Can I do sleepy eyes? Can I do surprised eyes? Can I do a wink? Yes. You can do whatever you feel like is your character. But if you are just out of brain space to get creative, do those 11. So you'll have 1 in the middle, that's the original, and then you'll have these 11. Okay. Here's where we're going to get to. You need to do the facial expressions this week so you can follow along next week, because next week we build handles and we do something like this. So this is my older model, but you do, we're going to do this. This is the exciting part. This is what gets everyone all excited, right? So instead of going to a blend shape window, we make a handle, and if I move the handle to the right, it activates the arch, and if I move it up, it raises it, and if I move it down, it lowers it. Right? And we're going to do 1 for the mouth, and we're going to do 1 for the eyes. So we got 1 for the brow, 1 for the eyes, 1 for the mouth.
Looks like Gray Harryhausen's work.
Right? He's supposed to be swampier, but the UV map. Chris, so the same thing happened to mine that happened to yours. The UV map just disappeared when I transferred it. Something about transferring it made me lose the UV map. I call him Swampy Boy. So anyway, that's what we're going to be doing. All right. Question. So this part we're going to cover next week. Making the handle, connecting the handle, making it all work, and then you're going to animate it. What's great is you animate it by just keyframing this. You don't have to go to the blend shape window anymore. Did you do that in the rigging class? Anyone?
In the rigging class, we did make controls for blend shapes.
You did?
Yeah.
It's still on the syllabus. We're still going to do it. Good. You just get to do it again. All right. Easy assignment for you then. All right. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's get started. Any questions? No? All right. Open up your head. We got to do all this, and thank you for reminding me about lights. Delete faces for mouth. Save as. then delete lights. We'll make that one. What color should that be?
Or just go to the previous file iteration you had before you set up.
Or you can do that. Yep. Both work. Let's make this, I'll make it red. I don't think I, is that pink or red? Right here. Doesn't really matter. Okay. So do set this up so that you are ready to go. Where do I want? Is it on this one? Don't save. Yes. All right. So I'm just gonna do it from the one I had lit, because that one's ready to go. So I'm gonna go here and I'm going to get to my perspective panel. I'm going to, a quick way to just kind of get rid of everything is go to Window, Outliner. So once again, if I go to Window, Outliner, I can delete my camera even. I can delete my area lights. I can hit 6 to go back to regular old lighting. I don't think, I'm going to get rid of the sphere in the middle. And I think that's all I need. I got another parented sphere here. Boom. Okay. That is step 1. I don't have an example here. All right. Step. So go ahead and delete your lights. Delete whatever else is in there. If you got keyframes on it, if you didn't use a camera trick, and you actually just keyframe and spun it, you want to make sure you're on frame 1. Hit Edit, Delete by Type Channels. That'll get rid of all animations. Eventually, we're going to do a Delete by Type history, just not yet. You can do it right now if you want to. We're going to do it again. And remember, once you delete by type history, you would get rid of your blend shapes. So don't do a delete by type history after you have blended your models. But that won't be until Tuesday. All right.
Do you mean like period? Like if you do blend shapes in anything, don't do delete by type at all after that?
You can do delete by type non-deformer history. But don't do that. That'll get rid of your blend shapes. In fact, that'll lock in whatever blend shape is there. So if you have like the smile on and you delete by type history, she's now locked in a smile. Okay. Save as. Command-Shift-S. You can call this, I'm going to go here. You can call this, your character's name. Give your character a name. Don't call it Swampy Boy.
How about Jack?
Get Jack. Frankenstein. Oh, excuse me, Frankenstein's monster. Slimy Boy, not Slimy, right?
I'm so sick of that excuse. Just call the monster Frankenstein.
Right. I hit a nerve there with you, Ben. All right. Ahsoka blends. Call it Boris. You can call him Boris out of the actor that you've based him off of. Boris Karloff.
Boris Frankenstein.
All right. Whatever you want to call it. What I find is you care more about your project when you give it a name. Like Swampy Boy, I stopped caring. I was like, Swampy Boy. Right? So don't call it, is Ivan here? Don't call it Slimy Boy. Give him a name.
So just
Sludge. Even if it's like Sludge.
So the file name is just his name, or is there something?
Blend Start. Blending Start. Or Blend Ready. Whichever you like. Okay. Let's do this. Step 1. Delete the lights. Did a save as. All right. If you've imported it from Mudbox, you are going to need a mouth hole and eye holes. You will also may need to resculpt it a little bit. Sometimes the Mudbox sends in a diagonal set of faces, so you might need to remodel a face. I forgot to plan this part. I forgot mine was already set this way, but so if I'm looking at it here, I want to go to the faces right here, and I need to delete the faces from Mudbox's little template, if that's what you used. You need eye holes, and you need a mouth hole.
If the eye holes or mouth holes come out a bit jagged afterwards, that's fine.
Then re-sculpt them. It's fine, but then re-sculpt them so it looks okay. So grab some vertices and try to flatten it out a little bit. Let's just grab that in here. Let's do an export as an OBJ file. Save. There it is. There we go. Boop. Oops, wrong thing. All right. So the defaults of these have these faces right here. And so delete yourself some eye holes. I'm going to do object symmetry. I'm going to show you a fun trick with that in a second. All right. Whatever you think is going to work right. And then a mouth, if you don't want to call it a mouth hole, a mouth slit. So like that. And then like this is a little, let's make a jagged edge. Let's just extrude that for a second. If you wind up, let me switch back to modeling. Mesh target weld. Remember this trick? We used to do this. We used to do this all the time. Oh, get it. There. Get it. Boom. All right. So if you got something that was a little like off, definitely hit the vertex. Definitely move that up and over. Just kind of remodel it with your new deletions. So sometimes deleting those faces, right, it looks a little boxy. You want to make it look a little more head-like. Ooh, that was way far. There we go. So if it's a little jagged, poke and push some of those down and around. How that looks creepy. I'm going to keep him there to be parallel. What should I call him? Steve? He looks like a Steve. Jason? No. We'll call him Steve. It always looks weirder when they're flesh colored. Here you go. Ready? Let's creep you guys out. Yes. Yep. And now I have two. They're buddies. So yeah, do give yourself eye holes. Do give yourself a mouth hole. Would you guys need 5 minutes?
10.
Yeah. 10 minutes to do it?
Well, because I'm...
Okay, go for it. So now that you got your eye holes and your mouth holes, it is up to you how you want to make your eye, how real or how unreal you wish to make it. If all you do is put black spheres in there or white spheres in there and that's all you want, that is fine. We're not an eye modeling class. If you want to do a simple eye color, you can do that, especially if you have a monster. You can actually maybe do something a little different. So, or you could UV map very quickly an eye texture offline, right? So you can just grab, like if I just go, I'm going to borrow someone's texture here. So I'm going to go do eye. I know, eye map, just to show you how it's done. For educational purposes. Let's say I want to do like a yellow eye, because Ahsoka's got yellow eyes, doesn't she? Yellow eyes map. I don't even think any. No, yellow eyes texture. Maybe I should do yellow. Oh, there you go. Boop.
Wouldn't it help if you put texture map though, since you don't know
Yeah.
some of these might?
Yeah, it worked. I just want to show you. All right, so eyes you can make. You're gonna make a sphere. Or I, if you are Ivan. Give it a rotate. Remember, holding down J does the snappy. Boop, 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 boop. Great trick, right? Most eyes are Fong. So if you want to right-click, assign a favorite material, and choose Fong. If I go too fast, I'm going to repeat making an eye 1, 2, 3 times. So I could just make a white eye. Right? Stick one eye in here like so. Oops. Get it the right size. And get it right on that edge. And the reason why we want to make an eye is so that when we're doing our facial blends, we don't cut our expressions into our eye. So we need some sort of placeholder for an eye, so that when we make the character blink or we make the character squint, we don't actually cut into the eye and the eyes bug out above the eyelids, which have been seen in games. They've gotten way better at it. You guys didn't play games in the 90s like me. But the eyes would bug out. And this way you're going to sculpt your eyes like that. So you could do something like that. Just a straight up blank eye. If you wanted to, once again, if you missed what I did, I'm going to repeat it. Create polygon primitive sphere. If the sphere has some weird sort of settings, remember you go to the box, you choose edit reset settings. I'm going to hit E, going to give it a rotate. If you wanted to do the simple easy eye with faces, come on. Keep rotating. Keep rotating. There you go. If you want to do some sort of simple face, go to object, give it the base Fong first. Object mode, assign favorite material Fong. Give it the white. Right? And then I could give, depending on the type of character you want to do, let me turn this into, I'm going to talk about all these selection tools in a second. I'm going to go here. Boop. I'm going to give it like a black Lambert. I like to give the irises a Lambert texture to kind of make them look less glossy, kind of make them look a little bit more dead black. And then I'm going to give 2 rings of color. And that's going to go back to Fong. And by all means, you know, you can get creative if you want. You can give it that little glint of a white. You can make one of these white faces, like you can grab this face and this face, right? And give it, oops. Give it, there you go. You can give it like a little white carve out. Oh, I didn't mean to have both sides. Whatever you wish to do. And then you can place that in there. If you want a monster type eye.
When you created the nerve sphere, what?
Nerve sphere? No, polygon sphere. Polygon sphere. Create polygon sphere. Don't do nerves. Paul may have shown you, or the rigging class may have shown you, making an eyelid surrounding it. I can. We're not going to do that for this class, but you could do something with it. Like that. Oops, maybe that's too a little smaller.
And you
can make the
white on it by using a foam.
Yeah, you can make that for your eyelid. No, I just want a polygon sphere. Keep it simple.
No, I mean when you created the white on it, you just made
Fong. Right, with my swamp guy, let me hit save here. What I did with my swamp guy, right, what I did was I made a black Fong for the, instead of the whites of his eyes, right, and then I gave like this yellowy face like that. So if you got a monster of some sort, you don't have to make it like a natural looking thing. Fong, and maybe this like a creepy, ugly yellow. Something like that. It's a nice zombie look. So it doesn't have to be, right? You can do that. Like give it no iris. You can have some fun with it. And if you wanted to go extra, you could build or Photoshop or photo paint all sorts of eyes. So as you saw me download one, so I'm going to go here to create. And one more time, create a sphere. Give it a rotate. J. Dot, 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 dot. Assign a Fong. Fong. Go to the, oh, I got to UV map it. I'll attach it. Attach the picture. File. Desktop. Wherever I saved it. Boop, boop, boop. Is that it? Yep. And then you have to do a planar scan. So I have to go to my UV map. Is anyone wanting to do a realistic eye? Or am I just wasting my time? And I can just go create, planar scan, options, choose it along the Z-axis. Yep, apply, boom. There's my little yellowy eye. Ivan, I can make a Cyclops too. Should I do that class? That's my new character model. Ben, you think I made a character model?
Beautiful, wonderful. It's way better than what it was before.
Exactly.
Do one eye.
Now here's a fun part. You might realize that your eye socket doesn't contour a spherical shape, in which case you might want to remodel your eye. Maybe I want that a little bit bigger. UV shell. Whoop, whoop, whoop. UV shell. Let me dim this. There you go. Dim it and. Oh, no, no. All right. Who's ready to duplicate the eye? What'd you say, Sarah?
I already did it.
Oh, you already did. Okay. What I like to do is if I know I'm along the origin, I can just flip the negative translate for the other eye. So if I'm going to call this left eye. Left eye. And then if I just take and hit Command D, that says left eye 1, so I'm going to change it right now before I even forget. Right eye. And now I can perfectly place it if I just put a negative in front of translate X. This is only works at boom. So if I'm right along the origin, I have it like that. Someone always asks, do I have to make teeth? No. Do you want to? You make a half pipe and then you extrude with faces separated. So just to kind of show you how you would make teeth, you make the quick way. This is the quick way of making teeth. You would make a pipe. Where's pipe, 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 pipe?
Right there.
Thank you. I might need to change that. So let's hit create. I can always change the parameters over here on the right. I kind of like the radius. Definitely need to scale that down. Something like that. And maybe make the thickness a little whoop, something like that, and then maybe make them a little longer. And then what I would do is I would delete. Let me get camera base selection turned off. Again, you don't have to do this. Just flexing a little bit here. All right. Close off these holes. 1, 2, mesh, fill hole, boom. All right. All these old tricks you picked up, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hit extrude. Keep faces together off.
Couldn't you also like split it with the?
Yep, I could.
I forget what it's called then.
There you go. I'm going to shrink them a little bit.
When you insert an edge into there.
You could do an edge loop. Yep, you could do an edge loop. Make these as tall or skinny as I want. You know, ooh. Sorry, go back to local. Let's pull those. Scale. Thank you. There. Once again, apply a Fong material. And then you duplicate it. You could also do a duplicate special. You could also do a mirror. I would model these a little bit more, of course, but that's your quick variation of dentures. You stick those in. Isn't that pretty? Definitely need to be smaller. Oops. There you go. Do not have to do that. Just showing you in the fastest way possible how to make dentures. If you wanted to spend a whole week modeling teeth, you could. But there's her teeth. For 2 minutes worth of work, ain't so bad. You would then parent everything into a skeleton or parent it all to the head so it sticks with it. Okay. Last thing I wanted to say before we move on to our next step with the eyes is you might need to remodel. Like her eye is cutting in a little bit here, right? So the sphere of the eyeball is either too close, it's eating into her eye socket, or this is too far forward. So I have to pick my poison. Do I want to pull things forward on the face, or do I want to pull this little tear duct spot? I'm going to pull the tear duct spot in. I'm going to expand my selection. Yeah. Let's do a B for soft select. Hold my brush. Something like that. What happened? Let's do vertex. Something like that. Push that in. Don't forget you can rotate. Rotating vertices with a selection I'm going to talk about. That usually helps when you're sculpting your face. Get that just right. There you go. Perfect. Or as perfect as I need for right now. So the reason why we make the eye is so that when you actually do model the expressions, you are not going to cut into an eye once you have a real good eye in there. I don't care if it's just a white ball or this generic looking eye, or you try to do something more realistic, as long as you have two spheres in there. Questions on the eyes? All review. Good? All right. Teeth. You want to make a tongue? You got to model the tongue and stick it in there too. And then you rig the tongue. We're not going to do that. All right. We're at touch up by. Look at us. We're halfway through this list. Ben, do you need more time?
I want to get your opinion on the eye socket. I think they look fine with me.
I'm sure it's great. Oh yeah. Total. pre-made deep enough sockets that you can put eyes in there. But definitely. Oh, is he the type of character that only has? He's lost his 2 eyes, and then he has a real eye? Is that what's happening to his story?
Well, actually, he has the two eyes, but they're all white.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Totally fine.
That's great. Yeah, is he a Triclops? Or is he a blinded man that then gained power of the 3rd eye?
Let's just say,
There's so much backstory.
let's just say his real eyes are in the front and the back.
You're still doing stuff. I knew when I knew that was gonna happen. I was like, oh, I have in store for I was in trouble.
Good. Good. Did you get eyes? Did you get spheres in there, Christo?
Chris is not paying attention to me.
Spheres? Just make spheres. Spheres. I always say it weird. Okay. Can't you move your camera? Do you know what? When you can't move your camera, just panel, perspective. Always have a new perspective. Just make a new perspective. And you have a new perspective. Ah. Don't you wish you can do that in real life? Don't you wish you could just do that? Yeah. Just be like, new perspective, please. Oh, whoa. I might delete those two. They're looking good right there, but I might maybe give her a little bit of an overbite. A little bit. Good. Okay. All right. This is your last chance to do any of those finishing details. Once we duplicate it, you want to keep that original as original. So here is a good point to save one more time, where you could do a save, because this is called blend start. You can do another save as, call it blend ready. I'm a big fan of saving ases, right? Blend ready. I'm still recording, right? And then one more time, blend expressions, or Ahsoka expressions starting. Why'd you save as 3 times, right? Or I saved once and saved as twice. So I can go back to this point, because the expressions one, so I just made a copy. If I say doing 2 save ases, I've made a copy in case I really screw up and just want to start over from right here. Okay, we're going to get to a point of no return. How do we feel? Everyone's good with their model? You've been staring at it long enough? All right. So what we're going to do, while we're at a point of no return, we're going to delete by type history. We're going to freeze transformation. We're also going to do that for the eyeballs, just so everything's kind of zeroed out and on the origin. You don't have to have your model on the origin, but I like to. And then do not do this after you've duplicated. Remember, you have to do all this before duplicating. If you delete by type history after you've duplicated, I've seen this happen. A student, I should say, right? Student deleted by type history somewhere in the duplication process. And so what happens is a kid goes to smile and the character smiles. And then the character goes to frown, and the character goes like this, and it moves over here. And that's because somewhere along the line he deleted the history data, so it actually recompared the vertices. What it's doing is each vertex has a number assigned to it, and it has a location assigned to it relative to the object. So when you do a blend shape, you're blending that vertex data. You're going from this vertex A, at 2 points, like the 3 numbers, 2, 3, 7, and now vertex A is going to be at 2, 3, 12, or whatever it may be. So it does it by vertices, is how it compares. So if you delete by type history, sometimes it resets that vertex count, and you get it tangled up, and it gets it all mixed up and confused. All right. That was me blabbing just to buy some people a few bit more time that I saw you clicking and moving around on your thing. Are you ready? You did 2 save ases? 2 save ases. So now we're on to expressions. Expressions. Okay. And I'm going to do it for this guy, and I'm going to do it for this guy. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select everything. And you know what? I'm going to move him down here. Go down there, Steve. Go over there. Leave him there. Whoop. Close enough. What if I just do this? Translate X, give him on 0, X on 0. Oh, my eyeballs! 1, 2, Buckamash. Boom. Okay. Steve's down there. Okay, you need 11. 11. You also want to make sure you're copying the eyeballs. So you're going to have 11 faces, heads, and 22 eyeballs. You might want to rename it. So Ahsoka is, oh, he's good. Oh, this guy's got to be. You want to click on your character as an object and make sure that you rename them. So this is Steve. That's Ahsoka. Fantastic. Left eye. Right eye. Fantastic. Oops. Right eye. Fantastic. Steve. And then I can put Steve's left eye. Steve's left eye. And Steve's right eye. There's an important reason, there's several reasons why you want to rename stuff. One of which is so that you can identify it easily on the outliner. When you start getting copies and copies and copies, you're going to start seeing everything here. The better you name things, the easier it is for you to kind of deal with problems, right? Like pipe. Pipe 1, lower teeth. Bless you. Right? And then pipe 2, upper teeth. When you work at a game studio, they're going to want you to name it a certain way. Don't worry about that right now. All right. Okay. We're going fast and loose today. I'm almost at break time, Sarah. We're almost there. Okay. Next thing. We still have this. It's scaled here. Especially Steve is all messed up. He's got a translation. Our eyeballs are extra rotated. Anyone remember the term that will reset things back to 0? Jamar? Do you remember the term that'll set things back to 0?
Freeze transformation.
Thanks, Jamar. Thank you.
I didn't even know that was the answer. I was guessing.
All right. So you can do it by just grabbing everything like that. You can just do a blanket object, be in object mode, blanket swath grab. And you're going to go to modify, freeze transform. Everything's now 0. So this way you know that this is the ground 0 one. And then last chance. Edit, delete by type history. I went really fast. Sorry. Go to object mode, select everything you want. Go to modify, freeze transformations. Edit, delete by type history. Do delete by type history, so your last chance to do a delete by type history. Once you duplicate, you cannot do this anymore. Whew. Okay. Modify, freeze transformations. Edit, delete by type history. Good. All right. What I like to do is, what did I say? 3, 4, and 4. So you got 4 for the mouth, 4 for the eyes, 3 for the brow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab one face and the eyes, duplicate. That's 1. Duplicate again. That's 2. Going to take these 2, duplicate. 4. Take those 4, duplicate. And then take those 4, duplicate, and then delete one. What? Something like that.
Question.
Gonna get that one. Answers.
Should I, for my Frankenstein, since he has the neck bolts and the staple and his eyes, should I just group them all together? So I won't have to, like, individually select?
Yes.
Or duplicate?
Mesh, combine them. Mesh, delete by type history. And then, yes. Make sure you're not selecting your eyeballs when you do that. Good looking out. If you do your eyeballs, you won't be able to rotate them around later. So once again, I did that fast, but that's why I have Steve. So I have to do everything twice. So here's Steve. I'm going to duplicate 1, duplicate 2, grab both, duplicate 4, grab 4, duplicate. Now I have 8. Grab 4 one more time, duplicate, and I'm just going to delete one. Steve 10, Steve 11, Steve 9, Steve 12. Oh, and I like to do this trick so I know that which one's my original. I know it's over the origin anyway, but just to kind of, I like to offset them a little bit so I know that that one's the origin. Just helps me kind of quickly find it.
It would also probably help if you maybe name it like Frankenstein Original with the name.
Well, yeah, and that's where I'm going to get to renaming. Yeah, duplicate, organize. Good. All right. So since he was talking about renaming, you could rename now. You could rename later. You might do both. You might rename it and then be like, oh, that looks more like a closed mouth than a frown. I'm just going to call it frown. And you can rename it. You can rename these things at any time. So what you're going to do is this one's going to be like brow up, brow up. This one's going to be brow down. So I just go to my channel box here. And I just rename stuff. Brow down.
Do you want us to arrange them in that way that you have, or can they just be in a straight line?
I like to, it's going to be your own way of organizing. If you want them all in a row, I've seen modelers do that. Who am I to judge another person's work? I like to organize by location. So I like to put all of my mouths in one side. I like to put all of my brows on another side. I like to put all my eyes on another side, etc., etc. What I say for the other brow? Arc. Brow arc. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. And then, so yeah, so you can rename now or rename later. I don't like to call it Ahsoka Original. I just like to call it Ahsoka. I don't want to call it Steve Original. Okay. And now the fun begins.
Question.
Yeah.
I keep trying to rename my original head Frankenstein, but it keeps going Frankenstein 1 and 2.
You click on the hair here, and you type in Frankenstein.
Yeah, and then it gives me Frankenstein 1.
Somewhere there a Frankenstein already exists. So one of these is already Frankenstein Original. So change that one, and then that's your. Does that make sense? This is why I like to do it my way. It's somewhere in your army of heads. One of them is the original, so it won't let you rename it because it's already in the queue.
I'm checking through them, and they're all called PQ, except for that one, which I know is the original.
Can you try a different name? Is it not letting you rename it at all?
Well, it is, but it keeps calling it Frankenstein 1 and 2 and 3 every time I try to put in just Frankenstein.
Let it live like that for a second. Small detail. What happens when you type in brow arc? Does it say brow arc 1?
Let me just try Frankie for short. It accepts Frank. It takes in Frankie. Doesn't add a number at the end.
Somewhere. So go to your outliner. Window, outliner. Somewhere you have a Frankenstein. And look, and then this is why we start naming things, class, is look how crazy our outliner got all of a sudden, right? I tend to name things as I go along. I don't pre-name things. You know, I feel I like to get into the work and then do the organization later. That's my way of doing things. I could totally see an argument for doing the organization first, but I think we're all creative, slightly, if not fully ADHD type things, and we want to get to the fun stuff. Screw the work. Let's get to the fun stuff.
Hey, John.
Yeah.
I got something weird going on.
All right.
If you got a second.
Give me. We're close to independent work, because you still got stuff going on. All right. Okay. Now, here's something different that you haven't had to deal with. So, like I said, Mart 420, you did blend shapes, but you probably had way less polygons to deal with. True or false? Class.
Yeah.
True? Way less polygons, right? Now we got a lot more polygons, okay? So let me go over some tricks to kind of help you with some selections here. I got a whole list right here. I will, feel free to look at it in the video. I will try to copy and paste that list in here. It's quite handy. First one. Do you guys know about holding down the Q button and then holding your left mouse button down? Do you know about this menu option set?
Sounds familiar.
Right? That will give you a lot of the things I am about to review. So instead of going to double click your options here or to go to symmetry up here, another place where you can go is so this one's my brow up. I'll start with arc. Is this arc? I'll start with arc. I'll do up. All right. So if I hold down the Q button and I want to do symmetry, I could go up to here. And if you like going up there, fantastic. Right? Just want to show you a different way. If I hold Q and I left click hold, symmetry is right there. Symmetry I can turn on. And then I can also change which one I want. Do I want it to be with the object? And then which axis do I want it to be with? So there's a bunch of fun things. If object isn't having a good time, you could try topology, Sarah, and someone else is having trouble with mirrors. You could try topology. I'm not guaranteeing that. If it's right down the origin, you could do world, but that won't help with your copies that you've done, right? So I'm going to stick mine to object, right? So there's one thing. Let me check what else we got here. Let's talk. And then a lot of you have very dense faces here. I really like soft selection. So when I'm doing an eyebrow to be raised, I would grab something like here with a soft selection. I'm going to turn that off though. There are other ways to click mouses. So by holding down Q and then left mouse clicking, I have symmetry. Most of the time you're going to be on the x-axis, and most of the time you're going to be on object. There's reasons to do other ones, but most of the time it's going to be x, and most of the time it's going to be object. You can also do that right here. You can just do shift select like you're normally used to. I just want to talk about these other things here. This came up with Ben just the other day, and I was like, oh, I should talk about that. And there's a perfect time to talk about that when we get to blend shapes. The paintbrush is another way you can select things. So this thing right here, or holding down Q and left clicking, there's a selection option. And I have, where is it? There is, go back. How do I go back? Paint select right there. And so I have my paint selection, and if I want, that circle's really big.
How do you get to there? The paint selection option?
3 different ways. Right here, there might be a hotkey for it. Nope, there's not a hotkey for it. And then the other way is holding down Q, holding left click, paint select, lasso, or regular old selection, marquee selection. So once again, Q, select is just my traditional selection that we normally stick with and have learned all our lives, right? Paint select lets you brush it, and then to change your brush size, just like with Mudbox, just like with soft select, if I hold down B, I can make my brush bigger or smaller. So I can kind of paint the area in which I want to have selected, right? And you can do both.
Just hold B and drag the mouse?
Hold B. To change the brush size, yes. Just like with Mudbox. And then you could also soft select your paint selection. Oh, I can't soft select. So you can't do soft select with paint select. There's one more. There's a lasso selection, which I don't usually like. This lets you kind of draw your circle. I don't use this one ever. I do use paint select every once in a while when I have a really dense mesh. I'm just showing you lasso because sometimes you guys come up. There's also an open. I don't know. That does no. I like close better. Close will close the circle, so it always closes the loop, even if you kind of go over there, right? I never use that one, but I want to show it to you. And then the other one is if I hold down Q, left click, I have these other options. Where's drag select? There's another thing here called drag select. Where is it? Selection. Let me go back here. All right. If I double click, the other place is if you don't like Q, if you're not feeling Q, if you can't remember that hotkey, if you double click on any one of these tools, you get some options. Okay. And this is where I wanted to get to because I do want to talk about soft select options. So if I'm going to click on this mouse here, so if I click on my actual selection tool, remember it's not your mouse, it's a selection tool. And that hotkey for the selection tool is Q. So if I double click it, you have your marquee, and you guys know about camera-based and non-camera based, right? When you have camera-based checked on, and for your facial expressions, you probably want camera-based checked on. So that way when you do a marquee selection, you're not selecting through your character. Be careful with that. Let me say that again. Make sure that you are on camera-based selection for your facial expressions. Double click. I turn this off while we're doing our modeling for a lot of reasons. But when you're doing facial expressions, because you don't want to have the character raise her eyebrows and all of a sudden the back of her head goes up. I have models that are fully rigged and I have fully animated with that little pieces of their body move when I have a facial expression change because I wasn't paying attention. I had camera-based selection turned off. Right? There's also a drag. Drag selection is similar. So that lets me kind of draw a line. Similar to painting. And then if I tab, if I think tab does like the inverse, it like will take off selections. So you have another, the reason why I'm showing you all this is because you have these very dense packages of faces here due to Mudbox, due to our details that we're trying to do. So to make the facial expressions, you're going to have clever ways of selecting things. So I'm trying to show you every little tool, and then I'm going to do a few things. All right. So we got drag paint. So I use a lot of camera-based selection. I use a lot of soft selection. And every once in a while, I'll do a paint selection. My other favorite tool is, so I got Object X. I have soft selection. This is how I like to operate. Let's say I'm doing that. Let's go down here to a mouth one, right? Right? So I have soft selection. It's starting to look a little bit like Mudbox, right? I'm going to grab somewhere in there. I'm on my faces. Another favorite of mine is Shift period and Shift comma. And it's not really Shift period, Shift comma. Think of the carrots right above it, which is the alligator mouths. Remember when you learned math? Less than and greater than? Flashback? Was that second grade? 2 is greater than. Which way does the alligator mouth go, right? So if I hit Shift period, my selection gets bigger. If I hit Shift comma, my selection gets smaller. So Shift period and Shift comma bring those back and forth. It's quite handy. Soft selection is B. I'm going to get there. There's some details in soft selection I want to talk about. So just to kind of select your, hit 5 there, right? If I wanted to grow that selection, it's quite handy. Just kind of expand it out. Shift period, Shift comma. Probably use that hotkey more than anything. Shift period, Shift comma. Comes in quite handy. All right, let's talk soft select then. I know I'm throwing a lot at you, and then I'll do some facial expressions. Soft selection. Double click on your arrow here. there's one setting I really want you to change. Soft selection. You're going to turn it on just for right now. Change volume to surface. So important. I'm going to go again, and I'm going to go slowly. Okay? And I'll explain why in a second. But double-click your arrow. I'll show you right here with her tendrils. I'll go to soft selection. It's defaulted to volume. I'll make a pretty big soft selection. That's too big. Let's go around. Give me that brush. Brush. Okay. Okay, there we go. Let's click right here. Let's click right here. Okay, there. Do you guys see how my soft selection is bleeding into her tendril here? Do you guys see that? Mm-hmm. Right? That's a volumetric soft selection. So it's thinking your selection is a sphere. And it's saying anything in that zone is getting selected. What I want you to do is you double click it and you choose surface, and look what happened. The tendril got deselected. It's now treating the object surface rather than just the volume of the 3D space.
How'd you do that?
You're going to double click on your arrow, go to soft select, and then it's this fall off mode surface. Every once in a while I go to volume. 95% of the time I'm on surface for my soft selection. I have seen some modelers play with the fall off curve. I never do. You could adjust the interpolation here. There's actually presets to like how this gets selected. Like so this has a stronger pull. That's your standard pull. You have a stronger pull. You have I don't know, a very rigid pull. I don't know why you do these other things. This one I can see an argument for. All right. I like the colors. Okay. And if you ever mess up, you hit reset. If you ever mess up, you hit reset. And that'll just take everything back to normal. It kind of nukes everything. Should nuke everything. Why did I nuke everything? Reset the tool. Boop. Oh, reset. Doop. So it starts off really strong. Pull down your... Oh, what happened? What? Does numlock's not on? 0.5? Bro. There you go. Okay. Surface. You definitely need to switch to surface. You can play with this if you want. Okay. I made a list, so I made sure I talked to everything before I actually did anything. And all the... just like I just said... Double click on any one of these. You do have a few other options, but basically camera-based selection, soft selection goes to surface, play with that radius, hold B to make the adjustments on the fly. And then every once in a while, these tools, it comes in handy to change the axis orientation for scale or rotate. I think I'm going to save that to after break, right? Let's get going. We're due for a break here. I can feel it. All right. So one thing I like. Okay. So let's get back to her in 6 mode. So holding B, soft selecting here. I have a good selection. Maybe a little bit more. And I can start raising this and pulling this out. And then maybe grow the selection and raise it a little bit more and pull it out, and maybe grow the selection again and raise it and pull it out. And then the reason why I had this picture up here, I didn't talk about it, right, is these animators are drawing, right, these characters right here, and they're looking at their faces in the mirror because there's so much musculature in your face. They're just finally getting the hang of it, like just finally, I'm going to say within the last 5 years, right? Of how much, maybe 10 years, of how much is actually changing in your face when you talk, when you smile and everything. So it's not just kind of moving things up and over. You want to grab some cheeks, grow your cheeks usually come out and up, right? Because you're flexing this muscle. It's just like when you flex your bicep, right? Look at that bicep flex, right? Just like that. That's what's happening to your cheeks when you smile, right? When you smile, your cheeks get puffy, just like your bicep gets massive when you start flexing, right? We all got big gains in here, right, guys? Right? All this mouse clicking. right? I like to also rotate and scale my selections, which is something you don't see too much of, right? And then when you're smiling, there's definitely a pinch at your nose. So you gotta kind of explore your face a little bit. You could even, can I use QuickTime while recording? I think I can. Right? You could even just use your, ready guys? Right? So you can start there. Hi everybody. So you could, look how much up here is changing when my mouth smiles, right? Even up here, right? So one thing that happens with a lot of beginning modelers is they do that for their smile. And try not to move any muscle up here. This hurts. Right. They just do that. Right? And that looks weird, right? Your whole face laughs, right? Your jaw gets tighter, your cheeks puff up. When you frown, you're actually pushing you're really, when you frown and pull stuff, you're actually really tightening a lot of muscles down here. You're actually raising stuff up so that you can pull it down. So I recommend using QuickTime and staring at your lovely face like this. I know, another exercise where you have to study your face. Eyebrows raising, right? Even up here, my muscles are moving, right? Even over here, there's a little bit going on. So feel free to deform your eyebrow raises too. So like when I'm raising my eyebrow here, let's get a nice good selection. Doop, 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 doop. And then this is always fun to try and look at yourself sideways, right? Well, that's not going as forward. Oh, up here is going more forward. So I'm going to raise this up. Something like that. And then this stuff is going forward. Do you all know the shift double click trick? So if I want to get that row of faces, click one here, shift, double click there. Expand my selection maybe. Maybe make my brush, maybe make my brush a little bigger. Pull that forward. If you wanted to try to create some wrinkle creases, you could. That gets a little tougher. That's like some advanced move. Don't extrude when you're doing blend. Oh, I did not say that. Do not extrude when you're blend shaping. Do not add any sort of geometry when you're making these shapes. Let me say that one more time. That's not written anywhere. That was assumed that you guys knew what you're talking about, but let me just it's so important. I'm going to look at you in the video, right? Do not, class, Jamar.
You? Okay.
Do not, you too. All of you.
Who's you?
I'm one. You. It's the opposite. You. Okay. Don't add geometry. That's no extrusions, no edge loops, no target welds, none of the stuff in modifying the mesh. None of this. Not allowed anymore. You're only allowed to move, scale, and rotate selections. You cannot change the geometry count. So there you go. All right. So for the brow, raise the brow. For the eyes. So what I want to do is, now that you got all those tools and I just spit a lot at you, I would like you to, we'll do the super break. We'll do the come back at 8:20. Break time to work. Give you 25 minutes. Give you a half hour. Work and do take a break. I like to start with the eyes. So I know I picked it, right? So if I wanted to start with by like kind of, drooping her eyes down, right? So I'm going to make her look, right? Eyes are great because a little bit goes a long way. Pull this down, gets the rotation. So once again, I showed you a lot of tools. What I use the most is B for soft selection. Make sure it's set to surface. Shift period, shift minus to change my selection to kind of move them over. Sometimes I grab faces, sometimes I grab verts, depending on my mood. There's probably a better reason than just mood. I'm trying to make her look angry. but just with her eyes. Yes, right? So I'm getting a nice little angry Ahsoka here. A little goes a long way. And then I do, oh, here's one. So right now, here's the last thing I want to say before we go. Right now when I'm rotating it, it's not really rotating in any sort of way or shape towards the eye or her face. So sometimes it's nice to mess with the way that the axes are oriented. So if I do component, now when I rotate it, it's kind of rotating along the X, Y, and Z values of the vertices. There, this is a good example to show. This is the one thing I didn't talk about, was your axis orientation. This comes quite in handy with scale and with object. And if you ever forget which one's the original one, just reset the tool, right? And it'll go back to normal, right? So every once in a while, when someone's like, even with move, right? I think so. You were asking. Ben might have been asking this at some point. Even with move, right? I want this to move along the edge of her face, closer to her nose. So instead of choosing world, I choose component, and now the Z's relative to her face, the Y's relative to her face, right? And I can go back to world. So switching it to component will kind of change the trajectory. It makes it easier to follow and trace things. Okay. I have talked enough, but what I'd like you guys to do is to start shaping and sculpting. Do take a break. What I want to do is have you guys sculpt for a while and then have me give you some tips, answer some questions, and then the rest of the period is ours. We've all kind of taken a break. You can, once I kind of, I mean, you could have left at break. I'm sorry, sir. I'm just going to give a few pointers. You can stay here and work, or you can stay here and keep working, or you can feel free to do this on your own time if you're not feeling well, or, you know, some people jam out. So, help me help you. Just copy and paste this list onto announcements, or copy and paste this list onto, does this help, having this list here, or just the recording and me showing you all the possibilities?
No, the recording helps.
The recording helps? Yeah. I'll keep posting that. And just a few more things here to get going. Remember, small increments with small bits, but keep expanding is the way to do it, right? Don't just pull this up and call it a smile, right? That looks really weird and creepy. So you're going to grab a little bit and lift it up and then expand out. That usually helps. Little moves, lots of little moves. It's death by 1,000 cuts here, right? Lots of little moves are going to help rather than one big sweeping move, right? Ooh, that looks horrible. And then don't forget to move out. I think I'm going to delete these teeth. Right? And then don't forget to move up and over and sculpt the face. Don't forget to change your soft select as it comes along. This is a horrible example. I'm gonna, oh, do you know what? Maybe if I lift the teeth and get object mode, won't look so bad. Come on. Why aren't you in object mode? You. There you go. There we go. Not as bad. Okay. Still working on that one. So when you're selecting another, these are good. Another thing that's going to help you with your selections is feel free to hit 5 and get off of your color. That's going to help you find the right things to select sometimes. Switching between 5 and 6 is another good little trick to just kind of keep an eye out, and sometimes you miss a face, sometimes you can't see the face, sometimes it looks different. You can spot wrinkles and creases a little bit more to kind of fix and create a little bit better of a solution. Straighten some things out. And really, that's all I have. Go slow, make slow changes. A little bit goes a long way, but definitely do try to make some quality expressions. So it's going to be 4 eyes, 3 brows, and 3 eyes. And what I know what I wanted to do. You may want to, Ivan and someone else, you might have to do what's called a half close. So I'm going to make a fifth pose on the eyes. So what happens is Maya goes from point A to point B. So let's go back here to faces. And if I do an eyes shut, if I'm closing my eyes, I want you to think about your eyes being closed as, what am I trying to say? 75% down, 25% up. That's usually true for most eye expressions. So when you're doing the eyes, bring the eye down and forward, and definitely rotate a little bit. And my selection is too big. I'm gonna shrink that. Oh no! All right. Close that up a little bit over here. Yes. All right. And then definitely bring the eye up as well. When you're closing the eyes, the eye goes up and the eye goes down. When you blink, when you do that stuff. What I'm trying to say, and then what I was trying to get with Ivan, and if you have a really big eye or your eyes are protruding a lot, oh, Riley might have this problem too. Sometimes Maya will go from point A. If my eyelid is, I'm going to draw it, because I don't, this is not, I'm going to draw it right here. Okay, my drawing from last time. Here's my eyeball, right? Here's my eyelid. It's open. And here's my eye. I'm going to make my eyeball a little bit more spherical. That'll work, right? Nice, good, perfect sphere. This is point A, the eye being open. Here's the eye being closed. So if you have a very big eye or your eye is protruding a lot, what Maya's going to do is if you do a half blink, it will actually close it. Like if it'll actually kind of go in a direct line. And the eyes will peek through the lids for just a second. One solution is to make a nerve circle as an eyelid. The other thing you can do is you make a half blink that pulls it out forward and then a second blink that pulls it down. So sometimes to make a good blink in a fluid motion is you actually make two. So once again, am I making sense there?
Yeah.
Right? Maya is, I like to call Maya a 6-year-old person, and they take you very literally. So if this is point A and this is point B, Maya goes, okay, and draws a straight line to get to that point instead of realizing it needs to trace that curve. So what you need to do is that's point A for my eyelid, A. You make, and this is point B, you make a third point. This is like A.5. And that way it gets protruded out and then goes down, and it won't clip your eyeball. That's only if you really need, if you have a big eye pushing forward, it's like Ivan's case, maybe Riley's case, and then it's only really necessary. In closed form, it looks okay. So you might get away with it okay in this class, but later if you do a rig or something, you might need this extra little blink there for a closed eye. And then don't forget to pull the eyelid up. Your lower eyelid does go up. It doesn't feel like it, but it does. Let's see if I can do it. Let's see. Let's look at my face again. That's how vain I am. Right? So it's hard. Is my lower eyelid going up? Yes or no? It's hard for me to, I can't look at it when I close my eyes, so you guys have to look. Is it? Or no? Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah? Thank you, Riley. All right. That's the class, folks. 11 facial expressions. Not too hard. 4 mouths, 4 brows, 4 cheeks. So that we can do this next week. If you've already done that, we're just going to do it again. Sound good? Go team. Yes.